Okay, I should be live. Hello, everybody. Jordan here for another stream for Cloud Underground. I hope everybody is having a wonderful Monday, getting their week going. I am here to give a couple announcements about what's going on with Cloud Underground right now, and then I'm going to do a kind of quick run through on how to get started with the Underground Nexus because I've been showing a lot of tools the last few weeks that are in the Underground Nexus, and I thought I should probably do a stream that gives you an idea of how easy it is to just get an Underground Nexus instance set up. So I'm going to do that. Let me get my LinkedIn stuff going. We're in the Underground Nexus, and I thought, okay. Sounds like we got sound. So I'll be monitoring LinkedIn. If anybody is watching this stream and has questions or comments, please feel free to hop into LinkedIn and send me a message. I will do my best to respond to them promptly. Although that's not always what happens. So just be patient with me if I'm not prompt. But yeah, please feel free to send comments. And if you're watching on YouTube, feel free to comment below, and we'll probably eventually get back to those. But anyway, yeah, like I said, I hope everybody's having a great day. So the first thing I wanted to talk a little bit about is, let me get my window capture going. So everybody, I think at this point, has seen our website. So this is our website, cloudunderground.dev. We just got the new website redesigned. I did a little tour of that last Thursday, so you're certainly welcome to go check that out if you are interested in the new website. But I think the main thing I wanted to talk about today is the DevSecOps 101 live workshop and hackathon that is happening June 24th, because that's coming up pretty quick, right? If we go to the top of our website, we've got a ticker here that says we've got 11 days and 4 hours left until that happens, until, well, and I mean, I guess that's midnight, so it's not strictly accurate. There's probably an extra 8 hours that you can add to the ticker because we're not going to start at midnight for the course or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's coming up real fast, the hackathon, so please go and check it out. It's going to be a really great opportunity for people to learn some DevSecOps chops, like increase your skills there, to do some networking, and to do the hackathon if you want to, and you know, test your ethical hacking skills against some others that are going to be there. And I should say, space is limited, so if you're interested, we encourage you to sign up sooner rather than later, although there are spots left at the moment. And I wanted to show, because we are partnered with GitLab, we have a bunch of swag that GitLab provided us that we're going to give away during the hackathon, or after the hackathon. I think to the folks that win get the top spots in that. So the first thing that we've got here is we've got a GitLab backpack. So that's kind of cool. It's actually, if I open it up, you can see it's got a little laptop spot. So it's like a little laptop backpack. And it's pretty cool because it's actually made from recycled bottles. Let's see. Made from recycled ocean-bound bottles. So yeah, it's a relatively green, sustainable product, I guess. And it looks like a pretty decent backpack. I mean, it's fairly straightforward, but you know, if you need a backpack, we got those. So we'll be giving away a few of those. Let's see, what else do I got here? We got a bunch of t-shirts. So we've got some GitLab t-shirts we'll be giving away to folks that participate and do well in the hackathon. What else do we have here? We've got some smaller, like, tote bags. So we got one of these guys that also is made from plastic bottles. So pretty cool that GitLab is trying to use sustainable materials and recycled materials for their products. But yeah, definitely cool stuff, some swag. And then I think we've got a whole bunch of tote bags here. So iterate, iterate, iterate. One of GitLab's mottos. So yeah, we've got some fun swag, and I think we also do have some stickers in there too. So for anybody who is interested in any of that stuff, you basically need to participate in the hackathon to have a chance at any of that. But it's pretty cool. So yeah, you should all participate so you can get a chance at getting a GitLab backpack or a GitLab shirt or something like that. So cool. That's like the main things I wanted to kind of talk about in announcements today, which is just join our workshop and hackathon, because that's coming up pretty quick. And then of course, if you're interested in getting the Underground Nexus going, and we've got this thing called the Zero Trust Cockpit, which is basically a web top that has all the tools you need to make a stream like this. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our academy and find the Cloud Jitsu program, which tells you how to get a Zero Trust Cockpit going. If you need to make demos or streams like this one, then this is a good way to do that. The course is $24, but you can join our DevSecOps dojo and ask us for your free code if you're interested in that. So, okay, like I said, I think that's what I wanted to announce today. It's mainly just all about checking out the workshop and learning more about that if you're interested. So today, as far as Underground Nexus goes, I've been introducing all of these tools the last several weeks, so I really wanted to kind of show folks what it looks like to get an Underground Nexus instance set up. I think we've got a number of other videos on that, but I figured as long as I'm going over a lot of these tools, I'd kind of show that off. I needed to get one going anyway, so it kind of just made sense for me to do that. And let me just see if I'm missing anything over here in LinkedIn. Appreciate you watching there, Jeff White. So thanks for stopping by. We're doing well, and thanks for coming by and checking out the stream. So, and if anybody has any questions, feel free to shoot them in the GitLab chat. Okay. So if you want to get an Underground Nexus instance set up, the best place to go to learn how to do that is, our website will tell you how to do it, but it's going to take you to the same place I'm about to tell you, which is GitHub. So if we click build free on GitHub, it takes us to our GitHub page. And this is basically where all of the resources and instructions reside that will tell you how to get an Underground Nexus instance set up. So if we look at this, we've got introduction that tells you kind of what the Nexus is all about and what it does. And then we've got install step 1, which is basically run one of these commands, but it says that assumes that Docker is already installed. So really, if you're working with a brand new blank system, the first step to getting an Underground Nexus going is to actually install a Docker instance. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this on a Raspberry Pi today. This is a Raspberry Pi I just got going, and if you look up in kind of what's up here already, you basically will see that I just run an apt update and an apt upgrade to get everything set there. So this is just a command line interface, a terminal that is running on this Raspberry Pi. This is a headless installation on the Raspberry Pi, so we don't have an actual graphic user interface OS to interact with. We just have the server operating system instance, which is basically just going to give us CLI. So, okay. Anyway, so that's what you're looking at here. So we actually don't have the instructions to install Docker here in our GitHub page because, Docker has all of that really well, thought out, and I think they have a pretty good set of instructions to use. So if you need to install Docker, use their documentation. So that's where we are now here on this website. This is Docker's docs. So, and this is basically, if you go to Docker's documentations, there will be a Get Docker button. You click on that and you will get to this page. And this allows us to get Docker for Mac, Docker Desktop for Windows, or Docker Desktop for Linux. So the Raspberry Pi is running Debian, it's running Raspberry Pi OS, which is based on Debian Linux, so we can essentially follow the Debian steps. So we're going to click Docker. The thing is that because this is a headless installation, we can't install the full desktop. So we actually are going to go over here to the left, and we've got Docker Desktop here. What we want is the Docker engine, not Docker Desktop for this particular case. And even in these instructions for installing Docker Desktop, you have to install the engine first, which essentially takes you to these engine instructions. So let's click Docker engine install, and we're going to click the Debian installer, since that's what Raspberry Pi OS is based on. And here are our instructions. So we've got some prerequisites. I'm not going to worry about that. We should have all of that good to go. So we're just going to install it using the repository. That's how I typically do it. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that a couple of these CA certificates, curl and GNU PG, are installed. So I already did an update, so I can skip that. So we'll copy this command here. And I think all this stuff is already installed on the Raspberry Pi, but we'll find out. So there's that command. Run it real quick. So yeah, those were all already installed in Raspberry Pi OS natively, so we don't have to worry about that. And thanks, Kenneth, for dropping in. Good to see you. We appreciate everybody for being around. So anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Back to what I was doing. So okay, back to our instructions here. So we are now going to add this Docker official GPG key. So I tend to run one command at a time so that you can see if anything goes wrong with any of the commands. So that's that first one. Okay, and you'll just have to take my word for it that I'm just copying that next line. Oh, okay. Copy. Back to PowerShell. Okay. And then the next line. Okay. So now we've got the official GPG key. So that was these three commands that I just ran. So now we're going to run this echo command. I think we can just select the whole thing, copy. Oh, I keep scrolling down somehow, or scrolling up. Anyway, that's fine. I didn't copy. Okay. Boom. Okay. So now oh, sorry, you didn't see me copy it in. I just copied the command into the terminal and ran it. So, and just in case people didn't get to see it and want to, so there it is, that you can see I just ran the command. Anyway. So next, sorry, I'm a little slow here. So we've now set up the repository. So now we can install the Docker engine. So we'll do a sudo apt-get update. So let's open our shell again. And we'll do sudo apt-get update. Okay. And that should update all the repositories, or well, the updater on the Pi to have those repositories that we just added, which are the Docker repos. So anyway, now what's next is we did the update. So now we can just install Docker Engine, Containerd, and Docker Compose, and we'll do the latest. We won't do a specific version, so we just got to copy this command. Okay, back to our terminal. Okay, there it is. And now we're installing Docker. It asks if we want to allow it to use the additional space. We do. So we'll click yes there. And this should be relatively quick, especially because the internet here is pretty fast. So hopefully it won't take too long of me just sitting here waiting for a command to run. I mean, Docker's, I don't want to say it's large. It's not really. It's a pretty lightweight thing, but it takes it a sec to get going. Anyway, looks like we're good. So now we can test and make sure our Docker instance is looking good by going docker info. At least that's one of many. You basically just run any Docker command and you should see. And you see that we got information, so it looks like Docker is indeed running. It did give us this error, permission denied, and that's because our Docker daemon, we haven't given this user permission to mess with it, essentially. So we have to run sudo in order to give Docker commands so that we elevate our privileges enough for the Docker commands to run. So let's do that and just look at what sudo docker info looks like, because we get a lot more info here when we do that. And we can see this is an 8 gig version of the Pi, because we got 4 cores and 7.62 gigabytes of memory to work with. But yeah, it looks like we're good to go. I do like to typically do I like to restart the device that's running the Docker engine after I get it going, just to make sure that everything is initialized correctly and running. So we're going to do that real quick. So let's just do a reboot here, and I'm going to hide the shell for a moment while that's happening. Oh, and I'll open this up. It gave me a bunch of errors because you got to do a sudo reboot, and you actually have to type it correctly as well, because if you type things incorrectly into a terminal, they don't work. So anyway, okay, there we go. So that closed the SSH connection. I will let the Raspberry Pi reboot for a few seconds. And I'm just looking through some comments while I'm waiting. Cool. Well, thanks, Jeff, for checking it out. It's got some really cool tools in it. And I don't know if you've looked at the Underground Nexus recently, but it's been updated quite a bit, so you should if you haven't gotten a chance. So I think I'm okay to start again. So let's find out. And I'll show you guys another trick. So I'm actually doing this, I'm interacting with this Raspberry Pi on a Windows PC, and I'm actually doing it directly with Windows PowerShell. So you could use a program like Putty or something along those lines if you want to SSH to another device. But the other way that you can do it if you don't want to install Putty, which I didn't want to do here, is you can type SSH and then the name of the user on the device that you're trying to SSH to, and then and then the IP address of the device. So you can see that here. I've got SSH. The user is Jordan at, and then that's the IP address. So if we press enter, if you do this the first time, it will ask you if you want to accept the fingerprint, and you can say yes to that, but I've already done that, so I can just type in a password here. Hey, and I typed it in correctly, so we are now logged in. Something to note here, it kind of gives us some info on the Linux install when we load it up, right? And you can see, or when we log in, and you can see one of the things it's saying is that Wi-Fi is currently blocked by RFKill, and that's because we haven't set the country that the Wi-Fi controller is operating in. You have to do that in order to get that Wi-Fi controller working on a Raspberry Pi, but that's kind of extraneous information, so I'm not going to worry about that. This Raspberry Pi is wired, so it doesn't matter if our Wi-Fi isn't working. We obviously have internet. So now if we do a sudo docker, oops, I'm pressing the wrong button, docker info, we should see, yep, our Docker is running. We got 0 containers, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that is step one, right, of getting the Underground Nexus going. The fortunate thing is that that is by far the longest step, is really getting Docker going. And obviously, it's not that hard. It's just a matter of a few commands. And their documentation's generally very good, I think. So if you just follow Docker's documentation here, I think for the most part, you will get where you need to go. So, okay. So Docker also, they recommend that you test the engine by running the hello world image. That's the last thing here. We did it by running Docker info, and we could tell that it's working, so I'm not going to worry about that. So Docker is now installed and ready to go. We can cross this off of our playlist, essentially, our steps to get to Underground Nexus running. So the next thing that we do is basically just run one of these Docker commands, right? And we have to find the correct command for the piece of software that we're running on it. And I see a question here, is it a Debian and not Ubuntu? So yes, Raspberry Pi is based on Debian and not Ubuntu. It is good to note that Ubuntu is based on Debian, so Ubuntu is a basically Debian flavor, but the thing about Ubuntu is I think it's pretty well tooled version of Debian, and because it's one of the most used Linux operating system, it tends to have its own set of install instructions or whatever for everything. So yeah, I hope that answers the question there. And if it doesn't, then let me know. But yeah, in this case, we're working on Debian because we're working on a Raspberry Pi. Anyway, so here's our commands again. We are on a Raspberry Pi, so we are on an ARM processor. We basically have two flavors of install scripts for the Underground Nexus, and they are AMD 64 versions, right? Or ARM 64 versions, which are like the Apple M1, Raspberry Pi, NVIDIA Jetson. There's all kinds of other ARM chips, like most cell phones are going to be running on some sort of ARM processor, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas, you know, a typical desktop or laptop computer is an AMD 64 system, typically. So we're running Raspberry Pi. I'm going to go ahead and I will go ahead and run the development poll, and we'll see how it goes. I will say the first thing to note is that we already SSH to this Raspberry Pi, so port 22 is in use. So we're going to get rid of this bit of the script in order to get it to work on a Raspberry Pi. So let's go ahead and grab this command. Not doing a very good job of it. Okay. So we'll copy that, and let's open Our shells still should be open over here. Okay. And okay, so here's our command. Now, this is not going to run as is. Because again, as you saw with the docker info command, this user doesn't have permission to modify the Docker daemon and stuff like that. So we have to escalate our privileges with sudo in the front of this on the Raspberry Pi. So I'm just going to do that real quick and undo that. Don't know why I did that. Whatever. Anyway. Okay, so we got to the beginning of the command. Now I can type sudo here. Okay, so now we have the permissions that we need. Here, I'll just try and run it without the sudo and you'll see what happens. It says permission denied, Docker permission denied while trying to connect to the Docker daemon socket, blah, 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 connect permission denied. So that's because we don't have, this user does not actually have the permissions that it needs in order to run this command. So we'll elevate with sudo to actually get this to work. Okay, so now this command should work. I also pretty much know we are currently SSH to the Pi, and so port 22 is in use. I think we need to get rid of that in my experience. I think the rest of these ports will work. We'll find out though. Let's press enter. So the first thing that has to happen is it has to pull this container, but the container, this is like the base container, and it doesn't take too long to get this. It should be a relatively quick process. So hopefully I'm not standing here. Yeah, you can see it's moving pretty darn fast here. And I think once all these say pull complete, then we're good to go. Okay, so yeah, there was no errors. We did need, I'm pretty sure we needed to delete port 22, but that was the only thing we needed to delete here. If you try and run this and it gives you some sort of error, and you look through and you see that it's saying something about a particular port not being available or something along along the lines of like port conflict or something like that, you can probably stop the container. Well, it probably won't be running if it had an error, a port error. But you can basically just rerun the command and delete that port that it's using, and hopefully the application that you're using, I mean, I don't know. It depends on what you're trying to do with Underground Nexus or whether or not you necessarily need all of these ports open. So just checking out questions, suggestions on remapping hosts to guest ports when certain required ports are already being used by other containers. You can remap the ports, and so it kind of depends. It depends on a lot of different things, I feel like. But like if we wanted to still be able to get to port 22, we could reassign the outgoing port. So let me open. So if we look at here, okay, we could try and pass, if it didn't matter that the ingress had to be port 22, we could change that bit and have it reference port 22. So we could have like port, I don't know, let's just say 100 here, just for the sake of having a number to put in here. We could put 100 to 22, and then you would just need to go to port 100 to access whatever you're accessing with port 22. Port 22 might not be a great example because I think it's generally the SSH port, so that's usually what's happening on there. But I don't know, let's just say port 2375, let's say that we wanted to, the host had that port already in use. We could change this part of it and try to still get to the internal port by using a different external port, essentially. And hopefully that makes sense and that I didn't totally butcher that explanation. I may have, but yeah, that's and Jack put it well there. Essentially, what you're looking at is the host port here is the first one versus the Docker port is the second one. So, yeah. Anyway, so there are options, and if you're not sure if it's going to work or whatever, I encourage you to just hop in and play with it and kind of learn about it. That's how I learned about some of this port mapping stuff was port 1000 is generally pretty well used in a lot of these, or well, okay, I should say all our web tops are using port 3000, so we have to put we have to have a bunch of different external ports mapping to different places to get to those different containers that are all using port 3000 for their Docker port, essentially for their web top. So yeah, totally. It's fun to play with that stuff and kind of just see how you can manipulate the ports and change things to get whatever to work the way you want it to work. So anyway, yeah, so that's the first step, right? Install step 1. So if we go up here, now we can do, let me open my shell again. Sorry, I'm not showing you that. So we've got this image running now. If we do sudo docker info, we now see that we have one container running. We've got one container running. We've got one image, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, and if we do sudo, again, because this user doesn't have permissions to mess with the Docker socket, we always have to do sudo when we're doing Docker commands in this context on a Raspberry Pi. There are ways to give my Jordan user permissions, so I didn't have to always do this, but I don't generally modify or play with, this is kind of the back end of the system. So I don't know that you need to necessarily worry about it all that much. I usually run a couple commands here and I use my sudo, and then I forget about it once everything is up and running and I'm accessing things through web browsers anyway for the most part. So anyway, so we're good to go. So that's step 1. Oh yeah, sorry, I did get distracted there because I was gonna show you. We got sudo docker container and ls. So this is a command. What it's doing is we're telling Docker to look at containers and then to list them. That's what the ls command is, list. So if we press that, so now we can see that we've got this Docker container running. We can see what ports are open and how long it's been running, etc. So cool. So we know indeed that step 1 worked. This container is now up and running. So now we go to step 2, which is paste the activation command in the same shell. So here's the activation command. It's this docker exec underground nexus dash deploy olympiad.sh. So we can go ahead and just copy that. And I'm going to go back to my shell. And again, we're messing with Docker. We don't have permissions, so we got to do sudo, and then we can run the command. And what we're doing is sudo docker exec. So this is executing a command, and we're executing this command inside of a running container. And the container that we're executing it in is the Underground Nexus. So that's what that is. And then the next bit is the command that we're running. So the command we're running is bash deploy olympiad.sh. So which is a script. So we're basically telling Docker to run this script inside of the Underground Nexus container that we just set up. So we'll press enter. And this is the big install right here. Because this is basically where all of the different tools and applications and everything that's inside the Underground Nexus starts getting set up. So it will take probably 35 to 40 minutes to run this, even here with a really fast internet connection, because we're just I mean, it just takes a long time to install this stuff. Like it takes a long time to download it all. It's a lot of gigabytes worth of information, and then it takes a long time to unpack and deploy it. But that's it. I mean, once this finishes running, we should have our Underground Nexus container or instance running, and with all the tools and containers inside it set up and ready to go. And because this is on an ARM device, it's not going to be the full stack that we have for an AMD 64 device, but most of the stuff that we have in the Underground Nexus does work on the ARM stack. So pretty cool stuff. And yeah, I think that's where I'm going to call it on my little setup tutorial. So I don't know, hopefully that helps people. This is essentially the first few steps that you need to do. Once this is done, then you can start going and looking at all the tools like I've been doing in the previous videos and streams that I've been releasing. So hopefully that all makes sense. You know, if it doesn't, feel free to ask us questions. You know, hop into the DevSecOps dojo and ask us any questions about it, or our community members or whoever. You know, everybody is usually pretty helpful. So let me go back to our website here. So to learn how to join the DevSecOps dojo, that's this third tab up here at the top of our website. So you can just click there and learn all about the DevSecOps dojo and how to join it. It's a Discord server that we manage. And then the other thing I wanted to say was, yeah, I mean, please, if you're at all interested in this live workshop and hackathon, or any, you know, like the cool GitLab swag that we've got for it all, please register for it and check it out, or, you know, click sign up now to learn more about what it's all about. And if you're not sure if it's something that you're interested in, and it should hopefully give you an idea whether or not this is worth it to you. But yeah, it should be a really good time. I think, you know, $100 essentially for the day is a pretty reasonable price, and you should be able to learn a lot about it. You're essentially going to get a course out of it too. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. And then of course, if you are interested in our Academy courses, you know, you can click on the Academy tab and click View All to see all the different courses that we have available if you want to basically learn how to build a lot of the stuff that we've built, or do a lot of the stuff that we do. So I think with that, I am going to quit yammering on a little bit and play just a little bit of Terraria. Probably won't stay on too long. So let me get that going here. And I did also want to just say thanks for everybody for joining the stream, and you know, I hope you enjoyed it and learned something. And I hope you stick around for a few minutes for Terraria here. Terraria is a super cool little game. It's basically, I mean, I always hate to relate it or to compare it to Minecraft, but it's really the best, by far the best comparison, because it is very similar to Minecraft for those who have played Minecraft, but it's basically a 2D version of it, which I like for a few reasons. I think it makes it a little quicker to kind of get stuff set up and built in Terraria versus Minecraft, where, yeah, three-dimensional structures take a long time to build versus two-dimensional structures. So, and oh yeah, the other thing I'm gonna do, have you guys, is I am going to turn on our radio station. Hopefully I've got volume levels at a decent place. So this music is the radio station that we run on YouTube. So if you will go to YouTube and then search Cloud Underground, you should find our channel, and you should be able to find our radio station on there. And yeah, if you want to have some music playing in the background of a stream or something that's DMCA free, then check it out, because yeah, that's what it is. So So that's what we're listening to, in case anybody was curious. We're going to join via IP. And I'm going to do that quickly while I enter my password. Sweet. And now we're inside Terraria. So this is a Terraria server that is running in a webtop that's running in an Underground Nexus instance. So that's one of the reasons I like to hop into it and play Terraria at the end of these streams, is so that people can kind of see like what it looks like to run an application inside of the Underground Nexus. And basically what I did was I got an Underground Nexus instance set up and then added another container to it with a webtop that is just for running this Underground Nexus instance. So yeah, this is running in an XFCE webtop. I think it is an Ubuntu XFCE webtop and an Underground Nexus instance, and it's works really well. So I like to kind of show it off so people can see what kind of lag you might like be looking at or whatever. And normally I say that I'm a long way away from this server, because normally I am, but today I'm actually playing from our co-location, so it's like even the little bit of the tiny bit of lag I experience normally when I'm a long way away from it is like gone here. It's basically zero lags, which is kind of nice. So yeah. So this is Terraria. So anyway, I should probably real quick let me make sure I'm not missing any LinkedIn stuff, because my LinkedIn is behind Terraria. Cool. So now hopefully I'll see any comments if people are hanging out in LinkedIn still, want to see what's going on. And unfortunately, I think the last time I played was with the stream, and I've got a mess of an inventory here. Ash grass seeds. Huh. Cool. Spicy pepper. My food drawer is here. We'll throw the spicy pepper in here. Good golly, I have a lot of platinum. I've got a lot of platinum. Ooh, mana regeneration potion. I might keep a couple of those around. That would probably be a good thing to have. Battle potion. Guess I don't have any of those. So that's cool. So Stephanie is asking, can I highlight how your Terraria server is working from a Docker container? From a Docker container, I'm assuming. Well, it basically is a matter of setting up a Terraria server. So the Terraria server itself is, I guess, like, how am I trying to put this? The Terraria server looks the same whether or not it's in a Docker container or you're just running it from a desktop, right? And essentially, I just went to Terraria's documentation to learn how to set up a server, and I followed the instructions to set up a server inside of a webtop that I was running inside the Underground Nexus. So, you know, and unfortunately I'm not really set up. I don't have a lot of great examples. This is not my normal environment, so I don't know all of, I don't know basically where a lot of the Underground Nexuses are living here, so I can't just like pull one up for you to show you. I wasn't quite ready to do that. But if you've run an Underground Nexus, then you know that you've got these web tops, right, that you can open in a web browser and you see a desktop, right? And it's a Mate Ubuntu desktop in most cases. So basically what I did was I just added another container to my Underground Nexus instance, right, using, you can use Portainer. I think I did it through command line, but I just added another container that was running a desktop, and then I opened up that desktop environment in a web browser like you would normally do, and then I just followed the instructions to install the Terraria server inside of that web top container. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit. If not, then let me know and I will try to explain it better. But yeah, so this is, it's just a Terraria server that's running in its own web top, in its own Docker container, which happens to be running a web top. So hopefully that makes some amount of sense. I definitely do not feel like I gave the best description there, so but doing the best I can. Oh. Just trying to empty out the inventory a bit here. And I'm still kind of after that yo-yo, so I might go just fight around in the underground a bit again. Fire blossom seeds. I don't know why that didn't do that automatically. Anyway. Oh, I've got multiple of these flame. This flame lash is a very cool weapon. I'll go ahead and throw that in here. It's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of like the Mystic Magic Missile. Oh, the Mystic Magic Missile's a little better, it looks like. That's a pretty cool weapon. Alright. Oh yeah, and then I found a new type of wood as well, so I've got this ash wood now, which creates some real creepy looking furniture. So Stephanie, I see that you asked the same comment again. Is that because my explanation was just really not good, or are you just like accidentally asked that question twice? Let me know if you want more explanation, and I can do my best. Okay. I'm gonna continue trying to offload stuff. No, I don't want to pick up more crap. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. And let me know if anybody, if the volume is not good, because I don't really know that. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna go try and keep looking for that yo-yo like I was last time, which involves going to the underground and just fighting. Wow, I got all the way to the edge of the map last time, so I'll go the other direction this time. Ow! I had a little lag there. It caused me to not be able to stop that fall the way I was hoping I was trying to. Well, you know what? Okay. So just because I'm not sure how good of an explanation I gave about how this is running in a Docker container or what that looks like, I could kind of show what that looks like, I think. So give me one moment here. Okay. And I better get to a safer place. And then I'm gonna do this. I will go to, because I can go, okay. .106. Oh, this might not be the right one, actually. Aha. Okay. Okay, so let me put my window capture back on. Okay. So this is the web top that is running the Terraria server, and you can actually see this is the Terraria server running. So basically, this is just a blank web top environment that I installed on an Underground Nexus instance. So I just added another container with its own web top with nothing in it, and then I installed the Terraria server, and now the Terraria server just runs here all the time. Like, this terminal's always open. So hopefully that maybe clears things up a little bit on the Docker container thing, if I didn't clear things up already. So let me know on that front. But so this is the Terraria server running in this, and this is actually an XFCE desktop environment, which is why it might look a little different than some of our other web tops. I used XFCE because it's supposed to be extremely lightweight, so I wanted to have as little going on in this container as possible to make sure that it would run well, essentially. So, I'll get back into the game now. Okay. And I'm going to go back down to the basement again. Oh, okay. I see. So LinkedIn's having a little bit of glitch where it keeps like resending your questions or something. All good. Anyway, so I'm going to keep touring them. That geyser always gets me. You can see there's actually a place I died from the geyser. Because that geyser has killed me. And the reason I'm running around in the underground right now is because I'm trying to find the best pre-hard mode yo-yo in the game. And it is found down here in the underground. Demons are a little nasty if they start, there gets to be enough of them cruising around. This is good prep for when I do fight the wall of flesh. I will need to have kind of open corridors everywhere so that I can move through the underground really effectively. So I guess my goals are twofold here: to open up paths through all these buildings, and then keep looking for this yo-yo. Clearing some lava up there. And then I can... Well, Just seeing if I got lucky, accidentally picked up that. But no such luck on that front. I accidentally picked up the yo-yo I'm after. So let's see. Okay, I've explored all this. I'm going to try and move a little faster to the parts that I haven't seen. Keep opening up passageways. Well, let's find out what's in here. I've still seen all of this. None of this is new quite yet. Still within the bit of map I've discovered in the past. Alright, here's the end. Huh. Yeah, I need to make some good holes in this building that I can actually get through. Alright. Yep, should be able to do that. Just don't want to have any places where I can get caught, trapped by the wall of flesh, because the wall of flesh, like it sounds, is just a wall that moves continuously, and you have to like outmove it while also attacking it. It's a bit of a challenge. And one of these days I'm going to have to take it on, because we're starting to run out of content here. Holy cow, this is a crazy building. Alright, so all this is new. Haven't been to any of this before. I'll run to the edge of the map and see if I can't find the yo-yo I'm looking for while I'm at that. So, I guess this is where the buildings end. Like in the center of the underground, there's a bunch of buildings, but once you start getting towards the edges, there are no more buildings. And then you get into this like ash forest, which is kind of cool actually. Somebody drop me my yo-yo. Oh, look at that. I got an ornate summons. Oh, that's for summoning a shadow mimic. Very cool. I think I'm just gonna give myself a little tunnel through here. Trying to remember what the drop rate of that yo-yo is. I think it's like 1 in 400, so it's not you have to kill a lot of stuff to get one, typically. unless you get real lucky. I feel like this is appropriate music for this underworld that I'm going to. Dark and aggressive thing. Gotta be getting kind of close to the edge at this point. Oh yeah, I'm getting real close to the edge. Whoa, that hurt me there. That was weird. Oh, it was a snail or something. I gotta do to get a few more enemies to spawn. Okay, so this is the edge. Far as I can go. I don't think I found my yo-yo. But I'll just have to keep searching. But I did reveal, I should say, the entire underworld, so that's kind of helpful for fighting the wall of flesh. So that's cool. And if you sit around here long enough, you actually do start to get a decent number of enemies spawning. You have to sit around for quite a while, I feel like. Like if I just sat here, how long? Well, I think I'm gonna call it on that with Terraria, so keep working towards getting that wall of flesh battle to happen sometime soon. Hopefully, one of the next times I play, I'll be able to get to that. But yeah, let me go ahead and do this. And I just want to wrap up. Turn the music down just a little. So yeah, thanks again everybody for joining me here on this Monday. I hope you're all having a great start to your week, like I said, and I hope everything goes well for the rest of it. I will be back around on Thursday, I believe, so you can look for a stream then. Until then, I encourage you to please check out our website and let's go home. So yeah, we're the Cloud Native Asset Management Company. Come check out our website, learn about the live workshop and virtual hackathon that's coming up again, June 24th, pretty quick here. Seats are limited, so please sign up and check it out. We've got all this cool swag that we'll be giving away, like the GitLab backpacks, some GitLab totes, some what else we got here? Got GitLab shirts and stickers, so a bunch of cool stuff. And of course, thank you to GitLab for sponsoring that and getting us that gear. It's very cool, and we definitely appreciate it. So that should be. Yeah, that should be really fun in June. This live workshop and virtual hackathon I know is going to be a super good time and hopefully really informative to everybody. So yeah, I really do encourage you to sign up and come join us. You know, if you want to support us but just want to buy some like random swag, we've got options for that here. We've got t-shirts, which are really cool tie-dye t-shirts that are embroidered with our logo, so they're really nice, high quality shirts. They are, you know, they are expensive, but they are worth it. So that. We've got those. We got water bottles. We've got stickers, and we got iPhone cases. So if any of that stuff strikes your fancy, it definitely really helps us if you buy any of that stuff. And if not, we've got all kinds of educational opportunities for folks. So check out the Academy or check out our services to learn what we offer to other businesses or B2B stuff or other services that we can provide for folks, and then all these learning opportunities. So yeah, we do a lot of different things, and and again, the Underground Nexus is totally free to download and install, so I encourage you to find a piece of hardware you have around that's just sitting around and get Docker installed and get the Nexus installed and going on it. And you can test all of this stuff out yourself. So yeah, thanks again everybody for being here and joining me, and like I said, I hope you have a great Monday. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.